Hey guys, this is part 2 of my previous video where I did a little sketchbook tour, showed you my old art, the first ever paintings of mine. I said that I might do a part 2 where I show you more of my paintings, but they're not my first works. I'll just jump in, I guess, with this rose painting. It's an oil painting, and I painted it on this board. It's like a thick cardboard, and the edges are super rough because it was a huge sheet and I didn't have the tools to break it apart into smaller pieces, so whenever I lost the patience I just broke the board. Let's just move on. This one is on canvas that's glued onto a piece of cardboard. I think this one is 2019. Here's another one. This one is older. I think this one is 2018. It's also a canvas board. As you can see that the background is super drippy. I used a lot of paint medium. And then when the background was dry, I painted the portrait. I used Carly Kloss as reference, but obviously looks nothing like her. But I like this portrait. I like how abstract the flowers are. After I painted it, I added some charcoal details here and there just to add darkness. My old username, Riri, spelled in a weird way. This one is a little more impasto. It's on that thick cardboard that I showed you before. I did prime it with gesso before painting. And this is oil paint. And this is an oil painting as well on the same surface. But the paint is super thin, super transparent, and I like it. Here is a oil pastel drawing on paper that I primed with acrylics, like orange acrylic background and some oil pastels. I don't like this one. I think it's a little too orange. One more painting. I think this is canvas, but I'm not sure if it's natural. It came in a form of a sketchbook. This is an oil painting, and I don't love it. Here's one more oil painting, and this is just thick paper that I gessoed first. I tried to paint Van Gogh's Almond Blossom. If I painted this on a bigger canvas, it would have looked better probably. This is my second time of painting this. I painted this picture with acrylics on a huge canvas, and I'll show you that painting later on, but it turned out a little more detailed. But the colors, I think, are better on this one. Here's another oil painting, a portrait. I think I didn't use a reference for this one. It looks off, and I don't like the colors. This one is a canvas sheet. There was another painting underneath it, and I decided to cover it up and paint something else. And This portrait is a copy of Malcolm Lipke, I think. Same surface, canvas sheet. This I painted from a photo that I found on pexels.com. Just a night portrait. And I repainted it twice because for some reason the face was so hard to paint. One more oil painting with roses on a canvas sheet. I tried to do like a Van Gogh style brushwork. The vase is too big, and I heard that it's a common mistake that beginners make when they paint bouquets in vases. The vase will be too big. Here's another portrait on the same surface. I really liked this painting when I just finished it, but now I'm looking back with fresh eyes and I think the face is just a little too flat. She's supposed to be in water. Here's one more copy of Lipke. So this is 2018, I think. I wanted to paint like Lipke. I mean, he's not the only one who paints like this, but I kind of tried to study his paintings. I like how he did highlights on the skin. You can see that underneath there was something else painted. I think I painted apples or something, and then I covered it up. Here's another portrait on canvas sheet. I used someone's photo, a famous photographer, but I don't remember their name. And this one I really liked when I finished it, but now I think I need to add more dimension to the face. But I like the hands and the arms, and I like the dress, but I think the roses are a little too red. Maybe I should have toned the red down. Here's another one that was painted on the same type of canvas sheet. This one I also really liked when I just finished it, but now I notice mistakes like on the neck and the bust area. Here's one more on the same surface. This is a Zoe Kravitz portrait, and this one I really liked also when I just finished it, but now I'm noticing anatomy mistakes. But I like the colors. I think I did a good job. I'm creating a harmonious color palette. I think because I toned down all the colors, they don't clash as much. Here's one more on the same surface. This one is a self-portrait. And again, I tried to watch what colors I'm using and tried to make them go together. And I really like how this turquoise goes with this purple. I think I painted the arm a little too long and the face looks a little off, but in general I kind of like it. Here's an oil painting on paper. This paper is blue and I primed it with this metallic acrylic and I painted in oils on top of it. I really like it actually, but I think I need to fix this part. It's a little too protruding. Here's one more on the same paper, but the color is different. I like this one too. another oil painting, but I don't remember if I primed it. I usually try to prime paper before painting in oils. In general, I like it. Here's one more on the same paper. This one I'm not super happy about. Another one on the same blue paper. Actually, it's green. I think it's acrylic. This is either 2019 or maybe even later. It's a self-portrait and I try to use weird colors. Turquoise, red, orange, and greenish skin tone. Here's another self-portrait on the same paper. It's oils and there's acrylic background, metallic. I could have done a better job because the face is totally wrong. This side is fine, I guess, if I narrow the cheek a little. And the bones are sticking out a little too harshly. One more selfie. This one is an acrylic painting, and again I tried to use weird colors. I like it kind of. This is an oil painting, and this one I remember got a lot of likes when I posted it on Instagram. I think because it's so painterly and thick. People really like thick paint, I think. And I did a lot of layers on this one. The colors initially were so different. I used a lot of blue and red, but then I changed the colors into these natural earthy tones. Here's one more on the same paper as all of these. This one is an oil painting. I tried to add abstraction to my portraits. Another one on the same paper, and this one first I did the abstraction. I was interested in acrylic pour, so I did some acrylic pouring, but like in my way, in a way that you're not really supposed to do acrylic pour. So I guess I can't call it acrylic pour because it's a specific thing, but I just used liquid acrylic paint, diluted acrylic paint, and then I turned it upside down because first it was like this, and then I added a portrait. Another portrait on the same paper. I really like how huge the face is. Another oil painting. I used a palette knife for this one. And I kind of like it. Here's an acrylic painting. I just used the cover of a sketchbook, and I painted this from my own digital painting, and the digital painting came out better than this. Maybe if I used a bigger brush and thicker paint it could have been better, but I'm not happy with this portrait. Here's a portrait on a cardboard. For this I used very thin oil painting, a lot of paint thinner, and I don't like this painting. I don't like the colors and the composition. I don't like anything about this. Actually, maybe if I just leave the face and then change everything else. Here's a painting on cardboard. I think it's the same cardboard, maybe not. This is a portrait of my sister. I like the colors on this one. I like this turquoise and the green and this magenta. But I think this arm needs to be fixed, and I like that I used some scratching to add abstraction. Here's another painting on cardboard, and it's very wonky looking and I hate it. This painting is very abstracted, a lot of paint thinner, and I think the composition is not finished. Maybe I need to add something here. I used the same metallic acrylic ground in the background, and then I painted the face in oils. I used a photo of a girl on Instagram, and I sent it to her and she liked it. Here's the same type of cardboard, and this one was at first a acrylic abstract. I used some super liquid, super diluted acrylic, and I attempted acrylic pour, but I did it wrong because I was too, what's the word, stingy. I didn't want to use up a lot of paint. And then basically I just added a face on top of it, and I didn't finish the face. I wanted to keep painting portraits because I love portraits, but add some abstraction. This rough board is back, and this is a self-portrait. First, basically, I sketched it out using a red oil pastel, and then I kind of did like a acrylic underpainting, and then I painted with oils, and I left the background just raw like that. I thought maybe that will be my signature. Here's another one on the same type of surface, and I think the background is blue acrylics, and on top of it I painted in oils, and I really like this one actually. Another one on the same type of surface, super rough, and some parts are raw, unfinished. I think I used acrylic underpainting, blue one, but not for the background. And then I finished it off with just oils. I used a palette knife for the hair. I like this one. Okay, here's a self-portrait on a primed cardboard. I think this one actually was painted first because it looks a little rough. I just painted it in oils on this gessoed cardboard, and I hated how it turned out because it gets absorbed too fast into the surface. So I didn't finish this one because I was frustrated. You can see some oil pastel underneath as the sketch, and then this one I didn't finish on purpose because I wanted them to be like a duo. And this is acrylic red underpainting, and then on top of it is oils. So here they are. Here's another cardboard painting. I used white gesso on top of it, you can see here, and then the rest of it is oils. And I was super proud of this one actually when I finished it. Here's an oil portrait on paper that I gessoed. The skin tone is interesting. In this one I added some grays and blues and greens. Here's a selfie that I painted on paper, primed with metallic acrylic. And I like how I painted the eyes and the nose, but the lower part is a little off. Here's an oil painting on small canvas. Just a pretty face with sadness in her eyes. Here's the same kind of canvas, and this is actually my hand holding a skull, a sheep's skull. I don't think I ever painted a skull before or after. Same type of canvas. This is a selfie. It's an oil painting, but on top of it I added some oil pastels, and I used a Sharpie for the eyeliner and for the lower lashes. It's a similar canvas, and I painted roses. Actually, I painted them twice. This is an oil painting because roses are so hard for me, and the first attempt wasn't good, so I tried to fix it, but I'm still not happy with it. I think I should have used more colors in this one because the pinks are too flat. Here's a portrait on a canvas board, an oil painting with a little bit of yellow. Here's another portrait on the same type of canvas. This one was inspired by my digital paintings. I was painting a lot of colorful backgrounds like these, and yeah, this is an oil painting. Here's an oil painting of water. For some reason I thought I could paint water better. This one I painted 3 times, I think. So there's a lot of paint here because it has a lot of layers, and none of them looked good to me. And I think I should add one more layer and try to fix it. Here's a painting on a canvas board. It's the same canvas board as this one, except it's a larger size. And the reference for this portrait I took from Pixels, I think. And yeah, it's just an oil painting, and I'm not sure about this one. I kind of like it, and I kind of dislike it. Here's one more painting on the same type of canvas board, and this one is also me trying to replicate the style that I found through digital painting. First it was just from imagination, and then I found a photo online of someone in a similar position, and I kind of changed things wherever I thought that the proportions are wrong, but this part, I don't remember how I painted this, but this fur, I just made it up, so I'm not sure if it looks correct. Yeah, I don't like this painting. I wish I could understand why I don't like it so I could fix it, but maybe it's because it looks too cartoonish. I like the necklace, but everything else just looks off. Here's another portrait on the same type of surface, and this painting I repainted twice, I think, because the first time it looked terrible, and her hair was basically two little buns that you can still see if you look closely, but I didn't like how the hair looked, and so I just painted like straight long hair. I'm not sure about this one. I like it, but I also think it's a little boring. This painting is on a board. You can see the background, the raw board. This is a portrait of my sister. I took the picture. We used purple and red lights, so her face looks colorful. And I used a lot of thin black paint, so there are some drips there. And I almost sold this one actually on Instagram because some guy said that he really liked it, but he asked me to change the background color, and then he kind of ghosted me. Yeah, I didn't sell this one. And I think I should change the background because he specifically asked me to paint the background this gray color, and I don't know, I don't like the gray. This is a fan art of the TV show Humans. I already showed you 2 fan arts from that show in my last video, and this one is just bigger. That show actually got cancelled, so I was super sad, and I painted these guys. This character's name is Max, and I forget her name. This is the same actress that plays in the show The Umbrella Academy, and I'm excited about the 3rd season. It's about to come out, so yeah. And this actor's name is Ivano, I think that's how you pronounce it, Ivano Jeremiah, and he actually liked this painting, and he followed me back on Instagram, so I felt like a star. Yeah, I'm not super happy with this painting, but it feels nostalgic, kind of. One more painting on the same kind of surface, and I didn't prime this one, and I hated it because this surface is so absorbent for oil paint, and I didn't finish it for that reason, because I didn't like the way that the paint was behaving. it's just a still life of some apples and flowers and berries. Maybe if I finish it, it could look great. Here's another painting on the same kind of surface, and I used gesso on it. It's an oil painting of just a girl that I found on Pexels, probably. She's wearing a backpack and she's somewhere in nature. Here's one more painting on the same kind of surface. It's a girl talking on the phone. I used a lot of thick paint here. I tried to be brave and not be scared to waste the paint. And this is actually painted on top of a painting. There was another girl painted before wearing a flower crown, and I hated how it turned out, so I covered it up. And I remember when I posted this one with the before, someone said that they would have saved the previous painting and painted this one on a separate surface, and maybe they meant it as a compliment, but it made me a little annoyed, because I thought if someone is not happy with a painting and wants to cover it up and paint on top of it, then I don't think it's wrong, right? And plus, I saved the photo of that painting, so it's not really gone. Here are some smaller paintings that are in a frame. This is Natasha Leon. This is Elle Fanning. This is just a random woman. A random girl. A random woman. This is Rina Sawayama. And this is a random girl. They are all framed like this. And I just painted them on paper. Here's an oil painting, a portrait of my sister. It's framed. Here's an oil painting, a portrait of someone from Instagram. It's actually huge, and I don't like the background, but there it is. This is another canvas. It's a portrait of my sister. Look at the colorful background. This is an oil painting. It's framed behind the glass, so it's a little reflective. It's a portrait of, I think it's Ashley Olsen, maybe Mary Kate. Here's a mixed media portrait. I actually really like this one. I repainted it, well, I painted it in multiple layers because all the previous layers didn't look right to me, and the last layer is oil pastel. I like all the textures in this one. Here's a portrait in a frame behind a glass with a Gary sticker on it. It's painted on paper with oils. It's just a girl with red hair and no body, no nothing. Another oil painting behind a glass in a frame. just a head floating in water. It's just acrylic paint spread around. I'm not sure about this one. I think I'll cover it up with a portrait or something. Here's an oil painting that I'm not sure if it's finished or not. It's very rough. An oil painting portrait on a round canvas. Here's another round canvas and a portrait of a girl with lizard eyes. I used purple instead of black. Some abstracted trees and snow in the background. I really like the background. Here's a framed little oil painting. I think this is a Rodarte model. Here's an oil painting on canvas. I was inspired by someone else's painting where they had with a lot of black and red. Here's a portrait of my sister on a canvas. There's some green in the background peeking through. There's some sunlight on her skin shining. Here's another portrait of my sister on a stretched canvas. A green abstract background. They represent trees, I guess, because we were in the nature. Here's a framed portrait behind a plastic glass with Patrick here. This is a portrait of Soko, the singer and the actress. This is, I think, from 2018, so it's pretty old. I was super proud of it when I just finished it. Yeah, I think I should have used more colors in the red area to add interest. And there's this raw cardboard background. Here's a acrylic painting. This is pretty new. I think it's from last year. And I tried to use weird colors for the face, and I really like this one actually. This is an oil painting on a canvas board. I really like this one actually. Here's another one on the same type of canvas board, and I like this one as well. And this one was inspired by a digital painting of mine. I really liked how I painted the background, and so I tried to copy it. Here's an abstract, just a bunch of acrylic paints on paper. I kind of hate this one. Here's an acrylic portrait on paper. I really like this one. Here's a little cork board with a bunch of portraits on my wall. This one is inspired by twigs, FKA twigs. It's an acrylic portrait on paper. This one is, I'm not sure who I used for the reference. I think just non-famous person, or maybe they are famous but I don't know them. This is a charcoal portrait. Here's another charcoal portrait, just on paper. This is an acrylic painting on paper. It's a portrait of an actress, but I don't remember her name. And I have a video of this painting, the process of this painting, on my Instagram and on my YouTube. This is an oil painting on paper that I covered with acrylics, I think, and then painted in oils on top. This is a pencil portrait, color pencil on paper. This is an acrylic portrait on paper. This is an oil painting on primed paper, I think. I think it was primed, maybe unprimed. This is another oil painting on paper. And these two are old, actually, and the other ones are a little newer. This one is a newer painting of one of my mutuals on Instagram. This is also a newer painting. Both of them are acrylics on paper. This one used to be old and an old acrylic painting, but I recently kind of added some details and fixed it. This one is old, I think it's from 2018, and it's oils on paper. I was really proud of this one when I finished it. This one is also super old. It's a copy of a painting by Elisa Ivanova. I think she's one of my favorite artists. This painting is, I think, from last year. Well, it was painted last year and then I added more details this year. It's a round canvas and I used acrylics for it. Here's an acrylic painting on paper. I did it today, actually. Here's another acrylic painting. I framed it. I painted it recently. Here's one more. Acrylic Abstract. I framed it so it's a little reflective. Are some tiny oil paintings. This one was super old, but I recently added some details to it. Super tiny, just on a canvas board. This one is also old, but I added some details recently. Here's another one. This one is a portrait of an oil painter. Her name is Lena Dania, and she's on YouTube. Very inspiring. Here's another recent acrylic portrait, just on scrap cardboard. This is an older painting on a huge piece of board. It's an oil painting of someone from Instagram. This is an older portrait of another person on Instagram. I framed it, but there's no glass. And the background I added recently, and it's just acrylics, because before it was just blank canvas. It's a canvas board. The portrait itself is an oil painting. This one is an oil painting on a canvas board. It's older. It's probably from 2 years ago or something like that, and I really like it. This one was inspired by one of my digital paintings, the abstract background of it and the color palette. Here's a little more recent painting. It's an abstract. I tried acrylic pour again, but it's a little weird looking. Here's an oil painting. It's framed and behind a glass, so it's a little reflective. Just a portrait on a red background. Oil painting on a gessoed cardboard. There's an oil painting on a canvas board. I don't know how old this is, but it's old. Similar surface. An oil painting. This is a self-portrait. I really like the background colors. I'm wearing a babushka headscarf. Here's a super old oil painting. I used someone's photo, like a famous photographer's photo for this. The background is a pink acrylics, and then I added some gray oil paint with a palette knife. It's super old and I can see a lot of mistakes, but yeah. Here are some older paintings. It's a little series of 4 tiny portraits on a canvas board. Well, 4 little canvas boards. I used my sister's photos as a reference and I framed them. Here's an older oil painting. It's behind a glass, so it's reflective. It's a portrait on paper, and I think it's from 2018 or 19. I was super proud of the way that I painted her nails, and I like her face. And behind her is a framed portrait of my sister. It's behind a glass again. It's an oil painting on paper, and I was super proud of this one when I finished it. I like this part. Is another old oil painting behind a glass in a frame. It's oils on canvas. It's a canvas sheet. It came in a sketchbook form. This is an actress. I don't know her name. I think I knew it, but then I forgot. This is super old. It's from 2018. This girl, well, this is a still from a movie. She's wearing a national, ancient, traditional costume, and I was super proud when I finished this portrait. Newer painting. It's gouache, I think, on cardboard. It's pretty new. This is another older painting that I painted on my old favorite cardboard that I cut up myself, that I talked about before. This is actually my sister. I painted her 3 times. She's eating a tangerine and wearing a tangerine dress. This one is my first acrylic painting, and it's a copy of Van Gogh that I mentioned before. It's pretty huge, and it has a lot of detail, but I'm not happy with the background of it. But I had to use this blue color because I ran out of all the other colors to make it a little closer to Van Gogh's version. It should be a little warmer and lighter. Yeah, now this one is huge. It's my largest ever painting. Here's a tiny rose painting framed behind a glass, and I painted the frame with acrylics because I didn't like the original color. I added a black stripe and some dots. It's painted on a canvas board. Here's another painting of a rose, same size as the previous one, pretty tiny, and it's framed. It's also oils on a canvas board. I think I'm losing my voice because I'm talking so much. Here's an oil painting, a portrait on just paper, and I framed it. I like how abstracted it is. Same style of portrait on the same type of paper. I used the same palette and I framed it in the same frame, but this one is a little less successful, I think, because of this side of the face. But I still like it, so I framed it. This is an oil painting on a canvas board that I repainted multiple times, and recently I added some oil pastel, and I'm not super happy with this one. Maybe I'll repaint it in the future. Here's another oil painting on a canvas board. I hate it. I hate it so much, and I need to paint something else on top of this. Here's another oil painting on a cardboard. This girl, I think she's an Instagram model. She actually saw this painting and she liked it when I posted it on Instagram, so I'm happy about that. This is an oil painting on canvas. Just a bunch of roses, and this one is super old. I think it's from 2018, and right now it's in the kitchen. And right beside it is the same type of canvas. I think I should have painted the sides of the canvas, but I didn't. And here I have a still life with some sunflowers and apples. And this is my last painting that I want to show you today. It's also in the kitchen, and it's super recent. It's acrylics on a canvas board, just an apple tree. It's super abstracted, super colorful, and that's it. This is my video. I think I showed you all of my paintings at this point. I'm super happy that I finally filmed a video like this, because I've wanted to document all of my paintings for a long time. Well, actually there are a lot of digital paintings that I didn't show you, but I think I'll make another video about that. Thank you for watching, and I hope you liked this video.